Hey guys, Nonstop here, throw back from a YouTube video. Today we have Ultimate Cars from Jojo's Bizarre Adventure and Meruem from Hunter x Hunter. If you enjoyed this video, dislike and subscribe. If you're wondering why there's no next time trailer at the end of this episode, or the end of this just video, it's because, well, if you know, or if you've been on the channel for a while, you might know, but the next video of mine, there's not really a trailer needed for it, if that makes sense. You'll see when it comes out. And yeah, let's just get right into it. For strength attack potency, Cars was stated to have, Hammond hundreds of times more powerful than that of Joseph Joestar's. Joseph Joestar, who scales far above Santana, who is stated to scale far above Dio, who essentially was able to survive the Part 1 boat exploding on him, which was around 60 tons of TNT in terms of damage, being a city block level feat. If we take that, and assume that that's Cars' power, so they're essentially lowballing him here, and multiply that by a couple hundred times, you get around 582 kilotons of TNT, or enough to destroy a large town. As for Meruem, meanwhile, he was able to only just survive the Rose Bomb, and since Nen essentially equals power and attack potency, this means that this should scale to his max attack potency level. Now this has a few different calcs surrounding it as to how powerful, the bomb was. There's one calc that puts it around 18.5 megatons of TNT, or enough to destroy a small city, or 1.8 gigatons of TNT, enough to destroy a large mountain. So there's quite a big gap there, and either way he would be more powerful than Cars, especially when you consider the fact he got stronger after the Rose Bomb happened. So yeah, the strength and attack potency point here both go to Meruem. As for speed, an Ultimate Cars was able to completely blitz Joseph Joestar, who at least scales to his older self, who is capable of intercepting an attack from Silver Chariot, who is able to hit Hanged Man, a moving beam of light. And in order to do this, the Silver Chariot must have been able to move around 300 times the speed of light. Meanwhile, for Meruem, his best speed feat is that his N was able to light up a large area at the speed of light. Even if we assume that his speed is equal to his N speed, Cars would still be faster by a substantial margin, so the speed point here goes to Cars. For durability, Cars was able to survive the Redstone of Asia, reflecting all of its power onto him and erupting the volcano beneath him, with almost no difficulty also. The Redstone of Asia being able to do this, you'd have had to have calculated out to around 800 megatons of TNT, or enough to destroy a large mountain. The reason why this doesn't scale to Cars' durability, as well, yes, he technically erupted the volcano with 2 fingers, the Redstone of Asia literally amplifies light by a million bazillion times or whatever, and that's the case with Hammond. So that's not really fair to really scale to Cars, seeing that, well, yes, it was him that did it, his power is amplified by a significant margin, although it does scale to his durability, as we just said. As we brought up earlier, Meruem was able to survive the Rose Bomb with, his max Nen almost, meaning that would be his max durability, but as we said, he gets more powerful and more durable after that. So that said, he scales to his attack potency. So if you go with the small city calc, then Cars is more durable, but if you go with the large mountain level calc, then Meruem's more durable. So it's kind of down to interpretation there. For abilities, weaponry, and techniques, Cars has a stupidly high level of intellect. The weakest and the worst of his species was able to learn an entire language just by hearing a few words. That level of intellect. He is also a mastery of stealth and can create after images. He's a weapons master and also has natural weaponry, especially in the blade that he has sticking out of his arm. And he can manipulate his own bones and manipulate his body just in general, as in Pillar Men can manipulate it to do its will. He has biological and acid manipulation, as he can turn any part of his body into any animal that's ever existed and gain properties of that animal if he so wishes and amplify it to an absurd degree. He also has a light manipulation, as his blade from his arm can, reflect light. He has elasticity and can stretch his body however he wishes. He can last without oxygen for however he wishes also. He can possess beings and has stupid levels of regeneration. He can also shapeshift as well. He can fly. He is also a master with Hammond and is the most powerful Hammond user ever. Hammond allows people to heal themselves, heal others, destroying their own bones, also walk on water, and he also has the ability to fly. He can create vibrations with Hammond. He also can resist a lot more pain with Hammond, and is a master martial artist also. He has energy manipulation, he gets stronger over time, and Hammond can affect things like stands, which are described as spirits also. Meruem, meanwhile, has photographic memory, is a genius intellect and a master at hand-to-hand combat. He has fear manipulation, he can conceal his presence, he can sense where people are. He's acrobatic, he knows like the pressure points and where to hit them. He has power absorption via absorbing Nen users. He has lots of regeneration and an immense pain tolerance. With N, he can feel the shape of anything moving in a certain space. He also has madness manipulation, body control, flight. He has rage power since he took Yuppie's power, energy projection, light manipulation, power modification, and power bestowal, as if you get hit with a Nen attack and you don't have Nen, there is a chance that you can get it yourself and can develop your own abilities. He has mind manipulation, empathic manipulation, telepathy. He has size manipulation, duplication, and poison inducement, as well as anyone who's around him for extended periods of time will get poisoned with a lethal poison and die, and that includes Meruem as well. So for who's more versatile, I think it is really close. I think it might be Cars, and for the abilities point, I think I might have to give it to Cars too, since many of the things that Cars can do, he can do better than Meruem, such as his intellect is higher, and also his regeneration is so much better. So I probably have to give the versatility and abilities point to Cars, but it is not a landslide by any sort of margin. As for weaknesses, and Cars doesn't really do well in space. Yes, he can breathe in space, but he will eventually freeze up and not be able to move. He's also extremely overconfident in his own abilities. As for Meruem, his main weaknesses come from the fact that after meeting Komugi, he eventually lost his violence almost, and tried to reason with humanity instead of trying to kill them all. He also, after the Rose Bomb, will eventually die after a while, after a couple of hours, due to the poison, and will get weaker over time despite his immense power, so I'd definitely say that Meruem's more vulnerable than Cars here. So as for the conclusion, we've gathered from this that Meruem is stronger and possibly more durable, meanwhile Cars is faster, has better abilities, is more versatile, and is less vulnerable, so who wins the fight? If you look at the stats, just by going off of this, it would imply that Cars wins, and I'm not going to say that that's not true at all, but that heavily underrepresents how close this fight is. Meruem is fast enough to typically, or kind of one-shot Cars if you take the large mountain level calcs, since, well, yes, Cars can regenerate, that calc is far above anything that Cars has ever done for durability. I would simply just bypass the durability and kill Cars. There's also the fact that there's uncertainty of Cars being poisoned, if that would work, seeing that he can manipulate his own body, blood, bones, and can regenerate much better than Meruem can, so it's unknown how that would affect him. If you take the large mountain calcs for Meruem, then there's not really much Cars can really do, although that being said, if Meruem hits him hard enough with a Nen attack, and Cars gets his own Nen ability, then it's pretty much game over, because then Cars not only gets an exponential power increase, but you can also theoretically get every single Nen ability going by, how Cars works. He has every single cell of everyone who lives in Jojo, therefore meaning that he has access to any powers that, existed at the time, including things like Hamon, which he needed to train for years and years and years to master. He got it immediately. So should that happen, Cars wins. If you take the small city level feats for Meruem, then it's basically the same story, albeit Cars will just win easier. Yeah, so overall, Cars does win. However, Meruem can also quite easily win himself. If you enjoyed this video, dislike and subscribe. As I said, there's not going to be a next time trailer for the next video, and so be sure to be tuned in for that, and you can be in tune for that by clicking the notification bell on my channel, and yeah, I will see you then.